Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Sharp Side Saturdays. After a couple weeks off, we're back. I was so close to skipping this again today, but it's the start of busy season for me, so I'm trying to just embrace the grind. Obviously, with all the football being back, Saturdays are super busy for me. But the whole point of the show, quick hit, good nuggets of information, little discussions with the chat at the end. Gonna be bringing some guests on again soon now that football's back and basketball and hockey will be back relatively soon. But just without further ado, let's get into it. UFC 293 tonight. Very, very light card for me. Only a couple bets I have on. I have 3 bets on the card. Gonna target one where the line's still playable, I think, and that's Tyson Pedro over Anton Turkalj. Turkalj a popular pick this week. I get why. I actually went into tape wanting to like him, but I came out thinking that Pedro should be about minus 150 here. I think Pedro, much better striker. He's going to be more dangerous, especially early. Anton seems to have a cardio edge, but I feel like Pedro's cardio issues are a bit overstated. And in round 3 of his last fight, who's still competitive on the striking stats, he allegedly had some stomach issues going into that fight, had a stomach bug, whatever. But yeah, I like Pedro here. I think his grappling is being underrated in this spot. And again, if you may have heard me talk about this, I've been on 3 other podcasts this week. But he's a black belt in jiu-jitsu. He's a black belt in Brazilian jiu-jitsu. He's a black belt in Japanese jiu-jitsu. I actually think he might be more of a potential sub threat than Anton is. He's had 9 UFC fights. Anton's only had 2 UFC fights and lost both them. He's more experienced in the octagon. And I get that his level of competition lately outside of the Bukowskis fight has been light. Like, obviously, Harry Hunsucker is not a great UFC win. But if you go back a little further, he has beaten guys like Khalil Roundtree and Saperbek Safrov, who I actually do think are pretty decent fighters. And yeah, it's again, it's not my strongest take ever. It's a unit play for me because I do think Anton is going to attempt a lot of takedowns. But the biggest thing for me that I looked really closely at was the technique of Anton's wrestling. And I just don't think he's a good enough technical wrestler. His entries are very poor. And I don't think Pedro is a bad enough grappler to be taken down at a high clip by those. So that's my bet for the day. Taysom Pedro, I would play that really up to minus 125, given the line maybe a little shorter, maybe minus 115, minus 110, but there's plenty of better than that available. I'm looking at the board right now. Season plus 100, minus 105. I think that's solid from a money line perspective. I think that's the best spot of the card. And again, it's a very light card for me. I'm treading lightly this week. And yeah, hopefully we all win tonight. If you have any questions, you feel free to leave them in the chat. Gerald, let's go. You're the GOAT. Wheezy. What's up, my man? Fuck the Magic Mafia. JK, yeah, yin and yang. Love Magic, obviously. Time to get that money, Mason. Let's do it. Vote for Pedro. Yep, good movie. Love it. I've been on Pedro all week. People are underrating his skills, well-rounded. That's kind of my thought process. I feel like this is a really good buy low spot on him after he dropped the ball as a sizable favorite in his last fight. So yeah, we'll see. Love that shirt, bro. Thanks, man. This is the Yankees AAA team. Yeah, the Scranton/Wilkes-Barre Rail Riders. I wonder if Turkalj will be cut after another loss. I have to imagine if he goes 0-3, they kind of have to. Again, tough draw in his first one against Jelton Almeida, who obviously you can't hold that loss against him too much. And then Victor Petrino in his last fight, which doesn't seem like a bad loss, but again, it's not like a top level fighter. And also this fight, like Pedro, another guy who is decent. He's not a top level fighter, but I don't think anyone really hangs around after going 0-3. Are we getting a second boxing lock of the year with Canelo and Charlo? Nope, just sticking with the one for now. Main event under 4.5 rounds. I lean that way at minus 110 early in the week. I didn't play it, but there's just no way I'm playing minus 140, minus 150 when I could have played minus 110 a few days ago. Andrew says the card is terrible. Yep, I agree. This is a weak card from a betting perspective, a weak card from a viewing perspective. One of the worst pay-per-view main cards I can remember. I'm really not even looking forward to watching it. All right, we've been going for 5 minutes. I'll hang around one more minute if anyone wants to ask any questions. Again, like I said, really going to try to keep these consistent this season. It's really tough with busy season coming up, but appreciate you guys watching always. And again, if there's any recommendations you have, certain people you want to see on, just hit me up. The whole point of this is to be very interactive, helpful for you. And yeah, all right. If no further questions, appreciate you all joining. I'll be back next week, 10 a.m. Eastern. If you don't mind liking the video, I'd appreciate it. Oh, one last question from Weezy. I'm Miranda or staying away. I didn't bet the money line. If you bet that solid plus money at plus 125 or better, I think that was a good bet. But I think it's a stay away at this point. Oh, I got a bunch of messages right at the end. Card looks terrible on paper, so that means we'll probably have all finishes today. At least that would be good for viewer perspective. Non-MMA related Nebraska today. Man, I could talk a lot about this game. I am on Nebraska at plus 3.5. I've never seen a football game, a college game at least, get bet like this, like in all my years of doing this. Dabbling in any college football, yeah, I bet like 60 games last week. I'm probably gonna do something similar. It's just a grind. I don't have too many thoughts though. I don't originate these plays. Like I work with sharp groups and am kind of just getting down based on the information. My only thought I'll say is I do think that Nebraska, just from a market perspective, has to be the right side, given the massive move due to just one game from Colorado. They're playing a Big Ten team who's used to being in the grind. And yeah, I think the wrong team's probably favored, but I did get a really good. I feel like plus 3.5 is a really good number. Even plus 3, I think is solid. Plus 2.5, I still think might be value, but I would so much rather be on the other side of that key number of 3, or just in the middle of 3 where 3 pushes. It's an interesting game. People are just maybe it gets bet up again because the public's been all over Colorado all week. Did you force Magic to bet college football? He seemed against it last year. He would bet anything. I didn't force him to bet it. He actually asked me about it, and I told him I was on it too, and so he's on it also. The Jewish better. Good luck today. Good luck to all of you. We'll be back next week, 10 a.m. Like the video, please, and I'll see you next week. Thanks.